This is the second part of my conversation with the former CEO of Viacom 18 and founder of House of Cheers Network, Mr. Raj Nayak. In this segment, we've specifically spoken about handling career instability during the current times, salary expectations, switching jobs, and navigating your career for better during these hard times. If you haven't heard the first part, you can click the I button right away. Without further ado, here we go. I want to move on to the slightly heavier part of the conversation, which is work, right? So here's what I did. I kind of went and did a small, anonymous questionnaire kind of a thing with some of the people, who know you, saying, "Hey, would you like to ask Mr. Raj Nayak something about your career?" Of course, there's a barrage of questions.
Sure.
Most of them are from people in media and allied industries, but these are all young professionals who don't know what's happening. This is unprecedented time, right? Uh, I think the first question is that in a scenario like this, where companies are struggling, startups are struggling, barring maybe a particular few categories like your edutech and fintech and all of that, media companies are struggling because shoots are stalled and brands are not putting in money, etc. There's a general atmosphere of धंधा नहीं है, business नहीं है, right? In scenarios like these, the one who gets maximum impacted are the younger professionals, because one, they don't know what's happening, they don't have a sense of direction. uh, a question that somebody asked me, and which is very relevant, that do 5-year and 10-year-old goals, like we've all been learned and say तुम्हारा 5 साल का गोल होना चाहिए, 10 साल का गोल होना चाहिए, do they make sense now?
Uh, First of all, I'm not an expert on the subject, but I will speak from my experience.
Sir, I just want you to speak from your
I'll
experience.
speak from my
Yeah.
experience. I've always come from a school of thought, and it's not just on individual goals, even in organizations. I used to find it funny that we used to do 10-year LRPs, in
Yeah.
organizations. And
Yeah.
I used to actually laugh at it, and my bosses used to get upset with me. And I used to say, it's, the thing is, we don't know what's going to happen 1 year down the line. We are planning 10 years.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
okay to have a vision. It's okay to say that we want to do this,
Yeah.
And of course, I always feel that you should have a purpose and not set that we want to be a 25,000 crore company. You rather say, what would your company want to be known for?
Sure.
For
Sure.
me, purpose matters more than the figures.
Yeah.
And even in your personal life and your personal journey, one of the things you need to keep in mind is we can plan what we want, but life doesn't. Life has its own plans too, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
people have gone and done engineering and they are producing movies, and people who have done medical and they're running restaurants, right? So
3 years back, you and I wouldn't have thought we would be sitting and doing this conversation.
right, exactly right. So,
Yeah.
so the thing is, don't stress too much about the future, right?
Yeah.
And especially for the youngsters, I always say, whatever job you are in, wherever you are, you should think that you're playing a game.
Mm.
Don't look at the scoreboard, keep your eye on the ball and give it your 100%. Sometimes you're going to lose, sometimes you're going to win, but you will have that satisfaction that you gave it your 100%. And there will always be another day and another game.
And
Right.
in the end, you will win.
You will win or you may not win. It doesn't matter. But the
Yeah.
satisfaction of having played 20 Wimbledons itself is a great feeling.
Absolutely.
You may not have got a Wimbledon,
Yeah.
so you may not have won the trophy, but your intent is, I will give it my 100% and I will do my best. And somewhere your passion, your commitment and your hard work will yield results.
Yes.
Will always yield results in some way or the other. And so I keep telling people, and when I say I keep telling people, this is what I did throughout my career. I never bothered about designation. I never bothered about the role. But whichever role I was put in, I just said that I want to be the best in this role. That was my
Yes.
challenge to myself. I wanted to, and I never compared myself with my peers or anything. I said, in this role, I want to be my best. So my competition was myself. As long as I felt that I gave it 100%, and with highest level of integrity, I was fine with it. And sometimes there will be accolades that will come your way. Sometimes there won't be recognition, but that's fine. You're doing it. You shouldn't be doing it because of recognition and accolades and things. You should be doing because that's what makes you satisfied. That's what makes you happy. And the
Yeah.
moment you do that, forget the recognition outside, you will feel so fulfilled as a person. You will feel so happy as a human being.
Yeah.
You feel great because every day when you wake up in the morning, you'll have that adrenaline rush saying, okay, today I'm going to give it my best all over again, you know, and you're going to be your own competitor and you're going to challenge yourself. And that's how you're going to improve yourself.
Interesting. So, but what happens, for a lot of us who are in midst of changes, right? And I'm particularly talking about guys. I mean, actually applicable to both entrepreneurs or professionals. You are negotiating a salary. The company comes and says, "Oh, the environment is bad. I can't give you higher salary. I can't give you a raise. Oh, you want a new job? Yeah, here's the offer, but it is less because the environment is bad." What is it? This is a common question, and the reason I chose to ask you, I know you might say I'm not the expert,
No, but
but this is a common question which has come, and
yeah.
people are saying, what do we take that low cut in our salary and join that new place because we want to go to that place, or we say no, but this is what I am getting right now, and it doesn't matter, the company is still running, the company is still making profits. Do I take that, you
So,
know
so there are two, three. Let me split it into three parts, right?
yeah,
One is there are organizations that are hugely profitable,
yeah,
and I have a very strong opinion about these companies who've used the pandemic to actually not pay their employees or cut their employees or stop increments and things like that, right?
yeah,
Of course, there have been companies who done the other way around as well, who
yeah,
pay things like that.
yeah,
So that's one. There could be companies that are still genuinely struggling,
yeah,
right? For those companies, and if you're in one of those companies, if you are unhappy with your job, right? If you are unhappy with your job, and then it doesn't matter whether the company is doing good or bad or whatever it is, right? If you're not happy with the job that you're doing, irrespective, you should move out because you are not
doesn't
gonna.
make sense.
It doesn't
Yeah,
make. You're not gonna give it your best if you're not happy. If you're
yeah,
not enjoying what you're doing, right? So
yeah,
that's one. But if you're enjoying what you're doing and you know that the company is really going through a bad time, okay, then I think you're morally responsible and ethically responsible to say, hey, this company gave me my bread and butter. Now, when the company is going through the bad time, I'm not going to desert this company. I'm not going to leave them. I'm going to stick with them. And later, when things are better, I'm going to ask them for what I think I deserve. And at that time, I'll make a decision, and that will hold you in good stead in the long run.
interesting.
Now, the other thing is about moving to another organization with a low pay cut, right? Uh, that's a choice because it's how desperately you need that job and why are you taking that job. Okay. And I would assume you are willing to go to another job with a lower pay cut for 2 or 3 reasons. One of the reason is you're not happy in your existing job, or you don't see any prospects here. You see that this is not going to go anywhere,
Or you don't have a job at all owing to the current
or you don't
circumstances.
have it. If you don't have a job, then my suggestion to you is take any job that comes your way. Don't
Absolutely.
don't get picky about it unless
Yeah,
you like the role and the profile and the thing.
yeah,
That's a different thing. But take a job if it comes your way because things are not going to change dramatically over the next few months or at least a year or so. So it's not
yeah,
that you will have 20 offers on your thing and
yeah,
you don't want to say, oh shit, regret saying, oh, I had that opportunity, but I didn't take it. Right.
yeah,
So if you have a job, and a lot of people have called me during this pandemic, a lot of people, my ex-colleagues and from other companies have called me saying, sir, I'm getting this job. What should I do? Should I take it? Shouldn't I take it? I said, are you happy doing what you're doing? They said, yes. Have your company looked after you? Yes. I said, why are you going? Why do you want looking for another job? I'm getting some 15% extra salary or something like that, or a designation change or whatever it is. I would say, just stay put.
Yeah.
I would say don't move. This is the wrong time to move companies, right? Because you don't know whether you're going from a frying pan to a fire.
Yeah.
You really
You
don't.
only get to know once you're inside.
You're there, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in a reasonably good place, hold on to it, because today safety is very important. Security is very important. It may
Yeah.
not have been true a few months ago, but it is today. So it is very important for you to have that income, because it's not, you may not need the money, but it validates your self-esteem when you have
Yeah.
a job, when you're doing a routine job and things like that.
Yeah.
And this is the wrong time to change jobs for the sake of changing jobs.
Yeah.
It's another matter. You're in a role and you get some fantastic offer, and that's a decision.
Or
But these are
something that you really wanted to do, you get it.
exact.
Yeah.
And I believe that when you take up a job, the last thing you should look at is the salary. This is my way of looking at things. Okay, because once you're in that role, if you're good, two things: no boss will want to lose a good employee. No boss, whether he
Yeah.
likes you or doesn't like you, because every boss's success is based on the people that he has or she has, right? And two, no organization wants to lose a good person. So I think you're in the short run, you may feel that I'm shorting, but over a long period of time, you will get overcompensated.
Sure, sure. So it's interesting because the last few episodes that I've spent talking to a lot of women, we've spoken about women negotiating lesser salaries, and I know these are very different conversations. This thing, but maybe maybe we do another episode on just talking about.
But I see no reason why women should negotiate lower salaries, because
Because we're not used to of it.
yeah, but I think women, you should again, the what I said stands true whether it's for a male or a female. It's not necessarily for a male, even for a whether it's a, and many of the people who call me were women, by
I
the way.
know.
Okay, were women who call me.
You worked with a lot of women
I work
teams,
with a lot
so
of women, right?
yeah,
And they
yeah,
call me and they feel comfortable talking to me. And I would just say, just stay put, hold on.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
not the right time to make
yeah.
any move.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, like I promised you, I told you that I'm going to keep it very, very crisp. But just the last segment of the conversation, and this is a question which I wanted to always ask. I've spent the last 10 years, seeing you, working with you directly, indirectly, and you know how much I've always been inspired by you, in awe of the way you work.
Let me just say something for all the audience here. I'm a fan of Anshu. Okay, so that it should be registered.
That's why I had to ask this question. You have worked with the biggest of the stars, actors, entrepreneurs, brand professionals, and CEOs, etc. You've been one yourself. How have you managed to keep your ego aside when you interact? It's very easy when you gain that position of power, right? It's easy to match or it's easy to kind of get that ego. Oh, I am so and so. There's a innate quality about you. It doesn't matter who you're talking to, whether you're talking to the CEO, to that biggest star, or you're talking to somebody at the lowest level in the organization. And because I've seen it personally, your tonality, your conversation, it's always the same. You will make that other person feel important. How has it been a conscious effort? How do you do that? Because it's one of the most important traits I feel as you grow.
I think wrong time to use the phrase of a person, because she was, I think, one of the first prime ministers of Israel. But she said the only asset that grows with time is humility. Golda Meir said this, and I firmly believe that everything about power and position, everything is notional, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just notional. It's in your head. Actually, it means nothing, right?
Yeah.
Donald Trump yesterday and Donald Trump today is different. He's just got out of the chair. That's it. Nothing has changed about him. His hair is still orange, right? But the thing is, once you're out of the chair, you're for all practical purposes, you're a non-entity. You're on your own, right?
Yeah.
And that's true for even stars, the
Once
movies.
the limelight goes. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it. I've seen a star standing and the paparazzi, wanting to take pictures, and then a bigger star comes and they push
Push it.
the star away, and I felt so bad. And but it happens. That's reality of life. The single most thing is, as long as you consciously tell yourself, it is not me, it is the chair, or it is that position, whatever, uh, position that's attributed to you. You keep reminding yourself about that. And I've said this 100 times. I'll repeat it again. And this is a little story. I love to say this. Years ago, and I was working in NDTV many years ago, right? About maybe 15, 17 years ago. And there was the first Goa Fest happening in Goa, first or second Goa Fest. And I was on a flight to Goa with my shots and, with kids and things like that. And on the other end, in business class, the flight was almost empty. At least the business class was empty. At the other end was a gentleman who is now the global COO of HUL or Unilever, called Nitin Paranjpe.
Yeah.
He was sitting at that other end, and I had never met him, even though I had done business worth hundreds of crores with levers, but I had never met him. And so I was very excited because I knew who he was. I had seen his pictures in Economic Times, and I knew who he was. So the moment the flight took off, and Goa flight is very short, right? I didn't waste any time. I just got up, walked up to his seat and said, "Sir, my name is Raj Nayak. I do a lot of business organization. I know so and so," and gave my card. And he said, "Sit down." And we got speaking. We become good friends today. Okay. And that time, he was wearing a full Unilever HUL uniform to Goa Fest. And I was like, who comes to Goa in a uniform? Everybody is in shorts and kits, and this is an advertising festival and things like that. And he said something that stuck with me it just stuck with me. He said, "Raj, sometimes when I go to office in Bombay, I may not wear it, but if I'm called upon to speak anywhere, I wear this uniform. Because this is just to remind myself, they are not calling Nitin Paranjpe. They are calling the CEO of HUL."
Absolutely.
So I don't know whether you remember this, Anshu. Whenever you came to my office, even at Viacom, you never saw me sitting at my desk. I always had a round table and I sat on that.
The sofa and yeah.
I sat on that always, right? And I used to tell myself, "Raj, it's not you, it's your chair. Don't fall in love with the chair." And so the moment I had to make a decision to move out, there was no emotional attachment. And one of the most difficult things to do in life is to let go.
I mean, sorry, this I have to share this incident. I will not name the person in concern. There was a particular gentleman from another organization who had a thing about air around him, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Nayak, we were discussing some work, and you've not given me important. You actually made sure you come and drop him down." I don't know if you remember who I am talking about, and the one thing that you said, मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. I will come and drop him every time he comes. As far as we continue to do good business and good work, it doesn't matter. And it struck me at so many levels. Here is the CEO of Viacom coming and dropping that particular guy who, in his own world, thought that he's like huge, but you had no issues. And this was like, it was such a big learning lesson, because when you do business, keep your ego aside. And that's the reason I wanted to ask you this question.
No, it's another thing which I learned. And again, I've used this example in the past. I used to work with ESPN Star Sports, and one of the producers, actually, there were two commentators, and this years ago, there were two commentators who fought on television, and the senior commentator actually trashed the junior commentator on live, on air, and it was great television to watch. Yeah. But that evening or next day, the producer and who was also the content head of ESPN Star Sports at that time, called that senior commentator and took him out for a drink in the evening. Okay. And I know the story closely because I was very close to him at that time. And he took him out for dinner because after that we met for dinner. And he told him, oh, you were fantastic on television today. And he was like feeling very good. He said, you thrashed this guy. He said, very good. It made great television. He said, very good. He said, but I want to tell you something. It made you look bad. So he said, if you want to look good, make the other person look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing. And
Yeah.
and by by doing something like going and dropping somebody to the gate or coming back, what did it do to me? It didn't make me small. In fact, I would think
You became the greater person, actually. You became the bigger person. In my eyes, who was the third person there, you became the bigger person, for sure.
So the thing is, again, if you're able to do 2, 3 things in life, I think you'll be a much happier person. And one is, don't be scared. If you can conquer fear, okay, as long and you can only be fearless when you are doing things with integrity, right?
Yes.
Because then you don't give a shit about anybody because your conscience is clear.
Yes.
2 is, if you can overcome greed. There is a difference between need and greed. You need to know when that need converts into greed, and at every point in your life, that inflection point is there. Because
Yes.
my need today is different from my driver's need. But at every stage of everybody's career, and your life changes, you'll get used to better things. Your lifestyle will get better and better and better. So your need will change. But you should know the difference between need and greed. And the most important thing, if you're able to take your ego, bundle it in some clothes and put it in a box and keep it aside, you will never ever go wrong in life. Never ever.
That's the most difficult thing to do, sir.
It is not difficult thing to do. You have to say, what will I do with my ego? It can only cost you.
But how do you differentiate? Sorry, I'm cutting you in. But and this could be, this is more for my personal consumption as well. How do you differentiate between ego and self-respect?
Yes, there is a difference. You should never compromise on self-respect. Ego is different from self-respect. Ego is different from pride.
Yeah.
Right? Me being proud of something I've done doesn't mean I have an ego. I am genuinely proud, damn it. Why shouldn't I be proud of something that I've achieved or I've done, right? Self-respect is you cannot let anybody else humiliate you. Never. No matter who it is. And again, I have a small story, and my mother told me this. She said, even if you have to shout at somebody, she said, call them in a room and you can give them a dressing down, but don't humiliate a person in front of anybody.
Yeah.
Because for everybody, the most important thing is their self-respect. And she would give me examples. She used to tell me, when you see somebody on the street putting their hand like this, she said, I used to, argue with her, say, when I was young. I said, no, that's how we encourage beggars. I used to say that. She used to say, no, Raj, you try putting your hand out. That person must have gone through the worst amount. His self-respect must have depleted to such an extent for them to be putting their hand out. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. So never, at the same time, don't let anybody trample on your self-respect.
Yeah.
But you have to differentiate it. Ego is having airs about yourself, throwing your weight around, having an opinion and not being open to criticism or not willing to have a healthy debate, and turning a blind eye to things because you think, I know best, my way or the highway. Now, that is ego. Self-respect is not ego. Self-respect is, I have an opinion. You may disagree with my opinion, and it's okay. We can agree to disagree. Not, right now, there are things happening in the country and a lot of people disagree with me. And it's fine. That's my opinion. And I'm entitled to my opinion, just like you are entitled to your opinion. But the moment I try to impose my opinion on yours, that's when there's a problem.
This is going to, I think I'm going to listen to this part of the conversation almost 3-4 times to be able to get that in my head. It's been a personal journey to be able to understand what is self-respect, what is ego, and how do you differentiate the two. I'm working on it, but
And also, unless keep this in mind, unless somebody has physically beaten you or touched you, let's even somebody give you a gali, na, do as if you're not heard that gali. Think that guy giving gali to somebody else.
yes,
Then it won't bother you. It bothers you when you take it personally. Now, what you're doing is you're catching it in the air and you're saying, "This is for me." Right? That's when you get hurt. Best is to ignore. Let the person scream. That person has wasted his energy, his effort, or her effort. Sanuki. So that's the way to look at it.
absolutely.
The moment you do that, you make your mind a mental framework saying that this is who I am, this is what I'll be. I won't let other people's, there's a
Judgment decide my,
yeah,
let me
there's a
drive.
nice phrase by I think who was the Apple
Tim Cook, Steve
not
Jobs.
Steve Jobs. There's a very
Yeah.
nice quote from him, right? So you have to be yourself, and the day you decide that this is who I am, this is what I will be, and this is how I'm going to live my life.
There's no stopping you.
There's nothing stopping you because it's
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you are measuring yourself with your own yardstick.
Yeah.
The moment you start comparing your yardstick with somebody else, that's when you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
saying, "I'm happy in my own bubble, I'm fine, I'm happy," and that's the way to look at life.
This was one of the most interesting, and in my head I'm like, how do I request him to come for one more episode? That should be my closing line.
Anshu, I'm a big fan of yours. There's never
Sir.
ever a time I will say no to you for anything, anytime.
This is just absolutely an honor. I know every time you've told this to me many times, but it really means a lot that you've come and spoken about so many things. Uh, Thank you so much, sir. I think I'm going to leave it to the audience to kind of just take so much of interesting stuff that we've spoken about today, and connect with you soon offline.
Thank you so much. Take care. Stay safe.
You
And,
too.
and I hope for everybody in this country and that, we will all overcome this soon and we will all get back to our normal selves. And
We will. I'm very, very positive
so
that
am I.
we will.
So
We
am I.
will. We will. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this. If you've enjoyed this conversation, make sure you hit the like button, comment what was your favorite part, and also subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to press the bell notification to never miss a new episode because we have a lot more coming. This podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, Google, JioSavan by the name Questions I Wanted to Ask. You can listen to it wherever you like. Link will be in the description. You can follow me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, etc. And all the links are in the description. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.